Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Grieco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today it's time for us to discuss Snake Eater. And I am joined to discuss Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, as always, by Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hey, what's going on? There is a lot to discuss about this game. Barely even get to the snake eating. There's so many other things for us to talk about. But I've got a fun fact this week, Gino. This one's specially for you. I don't know if we've used it before. You might know it already, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. It's about platypus.
Oh, my goodness. I have a fun fact after your fun fact, though. Go.
Excellent. I love it. We'll stack them. So the platypus, it's a mammal, but like many other things that's different about the platypus, no nipples. So instead, the milk just oozes out of these ducts and collects on the skin. And the nursing platypus babies either just like lick it off the skin or suck it from the tufts of fur that it gets soaked into, which sounds gross. But yeah, platypuses, no nipples.
More animals should nurse by oozing. This is my campaign stance.
Just constantly have hair in your mouth. Must be horrible.
Well, they've got beaks, or bills, so they're probably fine. There's distance between them and the skin. They're so tiny, though. So my fun fact that was shared with me, this article on National Geographic says, do spiders dream? A new study suggests they do.
Ugh.
Apparently, jumping spiders rapidly move their eyes and twitch during rest, suggesting they have visual dreams, never before observed in arachnids. So every time you kill a tiny jumping spider, know that you are ending a dreaming creature. You are killing its dreams.
Can you think of anything more terrifying than spider nightmares? Like, what terrifies spiders?
Us.
Oh, that was meta.
We are very large.
It's true.
We're large, we move, we are aware of them.
We don't skitter either. We like move in these weird straight lines.
Mostly weird straight lines and just hair in weird places. They're not sure what to do with us. That other voice you heard is the mistress of games, M. Palladino. Hello, M.
Hello. We're back from a little bit of a break. I also have a fun fact about spiders, actually.
I'm covered in them.
I am coated in them at all times. Gino, you probably saw this on the internet. Pete, I don't think you're as online as we are, but this might be news to you. Researchers have turned dead spiders into necrobotic grippers.
I did see this. I was terrified.
Yeah, like spiders work on hydraulics, basically. And so scientists have made like little graspy bits made out of spiders in order to pick stuff up. Not sure what purpose this serves.
Well, the scientists have said that this is a way to replace like metal or plastic grabbers.
So they claim.
Spiders have the tactile strength, and all you need is a spider corpse and like some little syringe. Basically, you use air to replace the vital fluids that are gone from the dead spider.
The scientists followed up by saying, and it's totally rad.
It's totally okay.
And it's fucking awesome.
Upon attempting to reach the scientists later for comment, they could not be found. We just heard cackling and lightning.
To be fair, if you get the chance to call yourself a necroboticist, you probably should, because that's rad as fuck.
It is. It's very rad. It's very alarming, but undeniably rad. Nothing that starts with necroboticism goes well, right?
I can't think of anything that starts with necro and goes well.
Yeah,
that's
Necromancer is like the best one.
Yeah.
Necrosis, not great.
No.
No.
Yeah,
Necropolitics, not good.
what they said is that because this grabber has about the same tactile strength as the artificial things we make, but it's biodegradable because it's a corpse. So it's better for the environment.
But in order to get it, you have to kill a spider.
Or
So, win-win.
winning on winning, Em.
Yeah. There's no downside, actually.
Yep.
If the end result of this is that every spider corpse we create as a society gets put into recycling bins and sent to a centralized spider recycling facility. Now that's a book no one's written, but I feel like that would be a great horror novel.
All right, I'm writing it down for later.
Yep. Turn in your corpses.
Mm-hmm.
I got the name for you, too. Bring out your dead.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into Metal Gear Solid 3, our normal plugs, you can get in touch with the show at Deep Listens Pod, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. If you were to do so, you would get access to our patrons-only Discord, where you can discuss stuff with the host of the show, learn about upcoming things that are going on. We have game nights as well, which maybe we'll do some of those because the game I'm going to pick might be great for a game night. And you also might end up on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord report, we are playing, what is it called? Lightning Returns.
Fuck.
For the Final Fantasy podcast. That's going. Is it going good? Is it going bad?
I will say, preview for the upcoming Lightning Returns podcast. It's the best of them. Of the 13 games. It's the best
How
of the
many are
13
there
games.
now?
Much.
What's the count up to?
3. There are 3 13 games. This is the third one. It's the best one. By a lot. Not particularly close. Doesn't mean it's a great game. But at the very least, it knows what it is.
Other stuff in the Discord. We've got a new Pokemon game coming out. People are talking about that. Also...
Wait.
Yes.
On the Pokemon game
Yes.
subject, did
Yes.
you see Fido?
Fido, yes.
Pete, have you
It's a
seen
cute-
Fido?
Cute little guy.
No, but let me guess. Is dough a pun here?
Hell
Yes.
yeah, it is.
Of course it is.
It's a dog
Fido
that
is
looks
like a... Yeah.
Go
Is
ahead.
he made
Ed.
of donuts?
It's like just a little doughboy. A little dough doggy.
Why do they keep making food Pokemon? It's
No,
it's creepy.
It's easy to make puns of.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I did prefer when they looked kind of like animals and not like refrigerators or...
Because, canonically, people don't eat Pokemon, correct?
Depends who you ask. They're not supposed to be eating Pokemon. If you ask,
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah. But everyone knows you gotta eat the Miltank at some point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other. If you want to eat meat, your only choice is Pokemon.
Yeah, because there's no other animals in the Pokemon world.
Wow.
It's a Pokemon world.
Well, they definitely they partake of the milk,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
perchance eat of the ovum, but it's unclear. I mean, even most of the plants are
Spoken like a
Pokemon.
vegetarian. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. You can't get around it.
Mhm.
It's like, oh,
I mean,
crap.
there are berries. I guess
There
they
are
could only
berries.
eat berries.
Look, if the berries are good enough for Pokemon, they're good enough for you.
I guess.
Yep. It's supposed to be something that you just don't talk about if you are making a Pokemon game. And so they haven't discussed it, but we know. We can speculate. The Pokemon world is horrifying, and if you want to talk about that, we have a channel for it.
Yes, and we
Also,
we had a
Yeah.
big discussion around Evo
yeah.
because Evo's happening, the Evolution fighting game tournament. So we've got a bunch of suggestions. I asked for suggestions for fighting games. And Pete,
Yes.
you are not that plugged in on fighting games, correct?
The last one I bought was it was either Super Smash Bros. For the N64 or the Metabots fighting game for Game Boy Advance.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
So if that
A
answers
man
your
of
question.
taste.
Yep.
Really current too.
hmm
On the cutting edge.
Although I do weirdly, I watch a lot of this YouTuber JM Crofts.
Okay.
He releases a lot of fighting game content.
Very nice. Shout out J.M. Crofts. I want to read you some titles, and I
Okay.
want you to tell me if this is a real game or something I just made up.
Oh God.
And these are all fighting games.
Okay.
Okay.
We at least have a genre.
Yep.
Do I get to play or am
No,
I
you know too much.
excluded? Okay.
You know too much.
I'll be over here.
Melty Blood type Lumina.
Oh God. The type Lumina makes me think it's real.
That is real. Melty Blood actress again, current code.
And that can't be real.
That's real
That's too many
also.
words.
That is a different Melty Blood game.
I just find so many people's blood melting.
Under Night in Birth EX Control LR.
Fake?
Real. That is a real game.
Who's naming these things?
Monsters. BlazBlue Encore Fight On.
I mean, I'm just assuming it must be real. It sounds crazy, so it must be.
That is not a BlazBlue title, but there are other BlazBlue titles that are just as bad. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax.
I think that one's real because I've seen the videos.
Yes, that is real. Asuka 120% Burning Fest.
I don't like this game. Real.
Yes. Jackie Chan in Fists of Fire.
This is new? Fake?
Real. That is a real old fighting game.
I was going to say, how
Old.
old is that one?
It's very old.
It's very old. I think it's it's either a PlayStation or like a Genesis title. It's very old. But it starts
Yeah.
with Jackie Chan going, I'm Jackie Chan and this is my game. Which is very good.
I mean, yeah, if you hire Jackie Chan, you're going to give him some screen time.
Of course. And let's wrap it with a Samurai Showdown.
Real?
Yeah, that is real. Samurai Showdown is a real fighting game. All
I
right.
think I've seen that one too.
This game's rigged.
So that's why whenever I tell you anime fighting games are like kind of a nightmare, imagine the person who would name games like that. And then imagine they made a game.
Is there any chance it's just like one word in Japanese, though?
Oh, it isn't. It very much is not. And so I think that's it for the Discord report, unless there was any other big heavy hitters.
We're still getting a lot of people who are not in the United States, and we are very curious as to why we are big out there in
That's true.
places such as South Africa. If you are a listener in South Africa or anywhere else that is not the United States, how did you hear about us? Please leave a comment or send us an email.
Yeah, if you're one of our listeners in Nigeria, Nambia, Kenya, or South Africa, shout us out. Love to know why or how.
I think it's a VPN situation, but
I
I
mean-
cannot confirm it, and it's a lot of people.
South
So-
Africa seems like maybe a VPN situation, but Nigeria and Nambia feel like we've got listeners out there. And if so, hey, what's up?
Yeah, just want to say hi. If you like the show, let us know.
Yep.
That's all.
And since I am back, it is time for my obsession of the week. And my obsession of the week is something very simple this week. I went on vacation for the last 2 weeks. That's why I was out for a bit and why the variety show was there to take its place. I was in Mexico for a couple of weeks. And my obsession is with how bad the U.S. education system is about teaching you about Mexico. Because boy, oh boy, do they leave a lot of shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're bad at literacy, too. So that's not helping.
Such as what?
Such
what have you
as,
learned?
how many Mesoamerican cultures do you think inhabited the country now currently known as Mexico?
Oh, God.
Because if you learned it from
So many.
Spanish class, like I did, you might think it was the Inca, the Maya, and the Aztecs, and that's it.
I was going to say 5. Yeah.
Like
I'm
40.
going to go for I was going for 20, 30.
Yeah,
Also,
like 40 that we've identified.
This one, very minor, but important to point out. Cinco de Mayo, not a Mexican holiday. It's definitely not Mexican Independence Day.
That's
Just
also
something
fair.
the U.S. celebrates. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I went to Teotihuacan, which is a series of pyramids outside of Mexico City, about 40 minutes outside of Mexico City. These pyramids are kind of the step pyramids that you see in South America, built 700 years before the Aztecs. Like, I think in the like 700 range, or like 300 to 700 AD range. And they did not speak Aztec. They predated the Aztecs significantly. The Aztecs found these pyramids and said, holy crap, these are bigger than anything we've ever built. They must have been built by the gods. And so they named those series of pyramids. All of the names, everything that we call the Teotihuacan pyramids is all Aztec stuff that they just came up with because all of the people who used to live there basically abandoned this site after a few hundred years of living there. Did not know that. Quetzalcoatl, the winged serpent of Aztec fame, also a god that was adopted from previous cultural groups. Did not know that. Did not know that the Aztecs and many of the Mesoamerican religions had a lot of duality as a central, like life and death, the sky and the earth and the underground going on in their cosmologies. I did not realize that they believed that the underground world, like the underworld, has a sky and stars and rivers and everything because sinkholes are totally a thing. And all of a sudden, when I learned all that stuff, I realized that basically the whole section of Elden Ring that's underground, I guess spoilers, is just ripped off of Mesoamerican shit. Just 100%.
I saw a post about that. I don't know if it was you who said it, but I was going to bring that up as a direct reference.
Yeah. It was like, apparently there was a cave-in around one of the Teotihuacan pyramids in the last 10 years, and they found that actually there was a big tunnel built under the pyramid, and the entire length of the tunnel on the ceiling, they put gemstones and glittery things on the ceiling because they believed that it was recreating the underworld, and the underworld has stars. Which, I went into Oh, go ahead.
Can you go down there?
No, right now it's only archaeologists. Apparently, it's not very high. Like it was meant to be a place where they just put. There was some jewels and stuff down there. There were some bones as well down there. So it was like probably a sacrifice sort of thing or an offering sort of thing. So it was not really meant for anyone to go back down there. There were actually walls blocking off everything that was there, and archaeologists removed the walls.
I see.
Yeah, but they didn't even know it was there until a cave-in after a big rainstorm revealed it. So yeah, it's wild. I didn't know any of that. Also went to a cenote, which is basically an underground river that are pretty common on the coasts of Mexico. And that's wild. I was 100 feet under the ground and experienced true darkness.
Oh, man. That sounds rad.
It was.
Gino said it was terrifying.
Well, yeah, because the guide I had, he actually had mapped out. The cenote was only discovered like maybe 10 years ago, tops. And he was one of the divers who helped map it because they didn't know how far it went. They found one entrance and weren't sure if there were more or anything like that. And he said, yeah, if you're down here long enough, time has no meaning. Because you can't see anything. It's pitch black. There's no sign of the sun's rotation or anything. You can't hear anything except yourself. And, you lose all sense of time. I was only down there with my light off for about 5 minutes, I think. I think only 5 minutes. But yeah, it is wild to only hear your own breath and see nothing. It's a real mind fuck to open your eyes and see the same thing as when your eyes are closed.
It's wild. When I worked at the engineering firm, they had a room to test like the mechanical instruments that was so quiet you could hear your blood flowing.
Oh,
yeah,
that's creepy.
Imagine that, but also sheer darkness. And also, they do not tell you that stalactites and stalagmites also shimmer.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah, so they're crystallizations of calcite. So they've got some gem tone. Some of them will be kind of gem-esque. So you kind of get a shimmering star effect, which explains the cosmology a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a very enlightening experience. They don't tell you about how Mexico City was once one gigantic lake. It was all one big lake with one island at the center where the Aztecs built a city. But then the Spanish came and dredged the lake. And now there's only one section of the lake left. But that's why Mexico City is sinking, because it's all supposed to be lake. Yep, don't tell you any of that shit. They don't tell you that people still speak Aztec. Like, there's a couple million people in Mexico who still speak, like, the ancient Aztec language. It's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, they don't even tell you that, like, the Aztecs called themselves Mexicans, and that's why it's Mexico. Yeah, American education system, terrible at teaching you about your neighbor to the north or the south. It's not good about Canada either.
Yeah.
It's bad about Mexico as well. So yeah, go travel there if you can. Mexico City's lovely.
Unsurprisingly, the American school system has failed us yet again.
Yes. So with that, speaking of things...
go ahead.
Hold on. Yes.
I have an obsession as well.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you have watched Prey yet, the new Predator movie.
I hear good things.
Speaking of Native Americans...
Yeah, speaking of Native Americans, it's amazing. Even if you are not a Alien Predator fan, I think it is a good film. You should check it out. There is a very good heroine. There is a good dog. Yeah, the dog lives. Don't worry. Okay. Spoilers for movie. And you should watch it in the Comanche dub, which is they like switch between the Comanche language and like English during the like actual movie, but that doesn't make sense because it's a film set in 1713 or something, and they would not be speaking English. So apparently, it's very differently translated than the actual like English subtitles. So that's my plug. Watch it. There's an option for that if you watch it on Hulu.
Okay.
So,
will do.
Yeah.
That was on my short list. I was going to check that out. It was that or Hellboy yesterday, and I ended up watching Hellboy.
How was that?
It's good. The Ron Perlman one. The 2004
the OG.
one. Yeah. Guillermo del Toro is a good director.
He is.
All right. Without further ado, it's now time to discuss Metal Gear Solid 3. M, you did this to us. You explain why.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is a game you might have heard of. It is a 2004 stealth game published by Konami, by a little-known developer.
Indie darling.
Named Hideo Kojima. You probably haven't heard of him. It's okay. Look him up when you get home later.
Safe search on.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the first game in the Metal Gear timeline, I believe, or at least the Metal Gear Solid timeline. The Metal Gear timeline is something else.
Yeah, I believe it is chronologically the earliest. It goes MGS3, then Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Or Metal Gear Snake's Revenge, then Metal Gear Solid, then 2, then 4.
Yeah. And then 5, I think.
I don't know where 5 fits in. 5,
I don't know.
I stopped paying attention. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's not important. It's very early on in the career of a man named Solid Snake, who is the player-controlled character, also someone you may have heard of. He is going to infiltrate Russia in order to stop a Metal Gear, which is a mobile weapons platform capable of firing nuclear bombs from Russia to anywhere in the United States. So That is the premise. You originally are armed only with a knife and a silenced pistol. And in order to perform your mission, you need to procure stuff on site. There is a lot of stealth because it is a stealth game.
It's a sneaky mission.
Yeah, or you could just find a gun and go ham, and there's really no downside. That's the premise, but in practice, do whatever you want, really. It's only going to tell you you're a different animal at the end, so do some CQC. Play an Ape Escape mode. Did you guys play the Ape Escape mode?
I didn't realize there was an Ape Escape
I didn't know there
mode.
was an Ape Escape mode.
I think that is... It might only be in the PlayStation 2 version. There's Snake versus Monkey, and then you go around doing Ape Escape stuff.
What?
Catching those little monkeys.
See, my problem was I had a fun experience trying to play this game. I first thought, okay, I've got a PS2, I can play Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PlayStation, right? That'd be great. Wouldn't that be easy? My PlayStation 2 no longer plays discs because Unlimited Saga killed it. It gave up. It said, I'm never going to read another PS2 disc again. So that's not an option. Then I thought, well, great. I've got a PlayStation Vita. I'll play it conveniently. I know that there was a mobile version of this game. Well, it's not available on the PlayStation Store anymore or any digital marketplace because they used footage from actual World War II and Cold War documentaries to make this game, and they didn't renew any of the licenses. So Konami does not have the right to distribute this game anymore because it contains content they no longer have the license to. So I could not buy the digital version of this game for the Vita, or just the digital version of this game for the PlayStation 3. No digital versions. So at that point I said, okay, I guess I'll buy the Metal Gear Solid collection, which has basically all of the games, including 4, and it's for the PlayStation 3. Got that. And the day after, it was announced that Konami was actually going to republish Metal Gear 2 and 3. They had figured out the licensing and were going to redistribute it. So within the course of, it had to be 24 hours?
Literally. This was the funniest thing to ever happen, I think. Gino was like, all right, I guess I'm buying it this way. And then literally within like 8 to 12 hours, we were like, hey, Gino, guess what? And then they announced that like the next day they were going to re-release it. Very funny to everyone who was not Gino.
I hate everything. Konami, you monsters. You made enough money on these games. Just keep them available, you sickos. Please. But now the joke's on all of you idiots because I've got every Metal Gear game except 5. So take that.
We're the real idiots.
Yeah.
Oh,
you showed us.
Speaking of being the real idiot, after MGS3, chronologically, it's Peace Walker and then Metal Gear. So that was,
of course,
how stupid of me. So, like you said, there's a sneaking mission. You play, well, he's just Snake originally. He looks a lot like the guy from Metal Gear Solid, but that's because the guy from Metal Gear Solid is a clone of Snake.
Spoilers.
If you're getting spoiled on a 25-plus-year-old game, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break this to you. Solid Snake is a clone.
Gino.
Mm-hmm. Snake is a clone, and all of the snakes after him are clones of clones. Yeah.
This is the first Snake. This is Alpha Snake.
This is the original Snake, as far as we know.
I've got a correction in chat. It goes Metal Gear Solid 3, then Portable Ops, then Peace Walker, then MGS5. Because they keep doing prequels. Thank you, Jatsu in chat.
Thank you.
So, you're playing as Snake. It plays like the other Metal Gear games. It's got, let's say, a unique control scheme, in that no other games ever emulated it. Em, how do you crouch in this game?
Oh boy. Let me remember. This is on the PlayStation. Crouching is the X button, I believe.
Yeah. So you press X to go down on one knee, and then you immediately, if you try to move, will start to crawl. And they use the analog control to make you crawl at differing speeds depending on how much you're holding the stick. If you stop holding the stick and you're on the ground and you press X, you'll go up to your knee again. But if you try to move, that doesn't mean you start running. You start crawling again. So you have to double tap X to get into standing so that you can then move. This might sound like a minor inconvenience, but if you are not well versed in these games,
if you are under fire, it's a little tough to control when you are going between crouching and on your stomach when you want to be moving away from the person shooting you.
Yes,
I don't think that's unfair to say.
And Snake also, like, if you press X twice and you're standing, you don't like immediately go on your belly. You go on your knee and then you have to move to go on your belly. So it's not like you can just go, oh crap, they're going to see me. Time to get on my belly. Double tap X.
I think in later iterations of the Metal Gear series, they figure this out.
Yeah, this is the last game that controls like this.
Yeah, I remember not having this issue in Metal Gear Solid 5. So, yay, it's old.
Yeah. And they also, the action button, I feel, is another important thing to mention. Pete, the action button, did you figure out when it did what?
It brings the action, boss.
When you press the action button, which is triangle, sometimes a thing will happen. There is no indication as to when this will happen. Sometimes you are at not exactly the right angle to have it happen, such as if you are slightly off from a ladder, or if you are trying to climb up onto a box and you press triangle and then nothing happens, it's because you need to wiggle slightly. There's a lot of fiddly bits.
Yeah, sometimes there are multiple actions near each other, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
For a super spy, like, he's not that good at moving.
Terrible at moving.
It's an interesting choice.
Kind of awkward.
Very good at staying still, if you look at it the other way.
That's fair.
And there's also the shoot button in this game.
Oh my god, don't talk to me about the fucking how you shoot in this game.
How do you shoot, Em? Say it.
Alright. So in order to shoot, you first have to pull out your weapon, which
of course
is R2. R2 like flips your right menu open.
Yeah. Can't shoot without a weapon.
Yep. Okay. So you're with me so far.
Of course.
So now, in order to use the gun, hold square. You are now looking down the sights. Oh no, wait. You're not even looking down the sights.
No, you're not looking down the sights. You're prepared
just
to shoot.
Holding your weapon out. You are prepared to shoot. You have cocked the trigger. In order to look down the sights, hold R1 and then guide yourself with the either stick. You're holding square, you're holding R1, you're moving with the stick. And then in order to shoot the gun, release the square button.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I did it, and I'm still confused by it.
Release the square button.
Release the square button. Because when you think of, like, using a gun, you think of releasing something.
Yeah, that's how triggers work, right? You pull them and then let them go. And then...
Yeah, right?
It would make so much more sense if it was a bow.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't a bow.
It's not.
It would be more stealthy.
It's a gun. Yep.
It's never a bow. I don't think he can get a bow. He can get porno mags.
Yeah.
Which also are deployed the same way as bullets.
Yep. If you want to throw something, like a grenade, you also have to do this. And if you want to not shoot, you have to then, like, while holding the square button, tap R2 again. And that will put your gun away completely. And that's the only way to not shoot once you have square held. It's a lot. I think at some point we realized, hey, this controller has, like, triggers on it. Maybe we should have the trigger be the gun button.
The trigger of a
Guns have
gun?
a trigger, yeah. I don't know. I think that was a good development.
We were just trying things out. No one knew what they were doing.
Yeah. They've only made 3 others of this series. No, at this point, there were a bunch of these.
This is the 3rd one that played like this. The original Metal Gear games were side scrollers, and they were like action games. Mm-hmm. But I will say, by the time this one came out, other such notable games have come out, like Halo.
Yeah.
Time Splitters.
If people have heard of it, maybe we should give like a quick summary of Halo, just in case.
Okay, Jonathan Halo falls in love with a robot in his head.
Mr. Halo. And then there are aliens.
And then there are aliens, and they're scared.
And you kill it, and then Halo
Keith
happens.
David's there. Yeah, Keith David's there, and there are zombies. So this game knew, Metal Gear Solid 1, legitimately, people had not figured stuff out yet. It was experimental. Cool. They figured out some stuff. 2, you're still, you probably started developing it before other shooters have come out to, show you how to make a game that controls in an understandable way. But then by the time 3 comes out, you're high on your own supply. You're just like, nah, this is how we're going to do it. There's no excuse for how some of this stuff controls. In 3, I think. Or at least, I don't think it benefits from its odd control scheme. Though it is at least more interesting than if it just played like a normal game to a certain extent.
Yeah, but interesting and bad mean pretty similar things a lot of the time,
Yeah, it's interesting in the same way that making a guitar out of a tissue box and rubber bands is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Whenever my father did not like something, he would be like, "Oh, it's interesting."
Yeah. The phrase my grandmother would use here is, "It's better than a sharp stick in the eye."
Yeah, my mom used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone else used that saying.
Mm-hmm.
I say that sometimes, and people look at me like I'm insane.
People look at me super weird. I'm like, why are you stabbing people in the eye, you weirdo?
What does that mean?
See,
no, my mom said it.
See, my dad's go-to phrase that no one else apparently used was if I said something like I was close to doing something, he would say, well, close only counts at horseshoes and hand grenades.
And B-52 strikes.
That's good too.
And B-52. Ugh. But yeah, this game, we also didn't even mention L2 is how you bring up your item menu, which is your other alternate menu where you've got your healing items and some other miscellaneous tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your radars, your cigar box,
thermal goggles,
porno mags.
Yeah.
No, the porno mags are guns. They are weapons.
They count as weapons.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. I apologize.
Cardboard boxes are tools. Porno mags are weapons. Or wait, are cardboard boxes weapons also?
No, I think they're tools.
Yeah.
This game makes no sense. It's top to bottom.
We haven't even gotten to the story.
It's all gibberish.
We haven't even gotten to the circle button.
Oh boy.
Which is maybe the oddest button that they've got, which is the CQC button.
Yeah.
So CQC is the made-up martial art of the MGS universe. It stands for Close Quarters Combat. It's basically karate sometimes, and it's kind of judo sometimes.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be what's the Israeli one?
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Sistema or something.
There's not enough eye gouging for it to be Krav Maga, though.
Yeah, there aren't as many groin strikes as there would need to be either.
Yeah,
Pete,
but
you do combat stuff, right?
Sure.
Is this CQC would it work, or would you just get punched in the face and then go down?
I'll say this: I've never whittled a knife blade to make sure it fits in my pistol, so I might not be the right person to ask. The stances are super weird.
yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it's time to
thinking.
fight. Let me go into mantis stance," and he crouches and his fingers come out. But like judo works. Like when he's doing judo tosses, that's legit. It's just like very weird stances.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but to be fair, Snake is always in a weird stance, and it's
That's
never
true.
more clear than when you put a mask on him. You can get a rubber mask that replaces his face with another character's face, and that character, I imagine, standing like a normal frickin' human being.
But then it's Snake, so he's crouched and
So he's crouched.
hunched over.
Like, what the hell's wrong with your spine, Steve? He's like, I don't worry about it, man.
Yeah, it's like anytime you put him in civilian garb or a costume like that, he looks so out of place. He only makes sense in his weird sneaking outfit.
And you get a lot of weird sneaking outfits. There are
You do.
a lot of costume changes.
And so, like, the weird thing about CQC is that if you mash the button, it's a 3-hit combo. If you press, like, if you hold it and press towards, it grabs the enemy. Every button in this game is context sensitive, is what I'm getting at. And it's an odd choice. It means that sometimes you get 3-hit combo when you wanted to grab a guy and choke him out. And the difference between punching a guy and choking him out is the difference between alerting the whole squad that you're there and not doing so. And this game has just a million ways to accidentally blow your stealth for a game that is ostensibly about stealth.
It's context sensitive, but it's never clear what the context is.
Yes.
Yeah. My favorite is when I was starting to play this game, I kept trying to like interrogate people or like choke them out. And in order to do that, you have to press O like repeatedly. But then I would try to press it repeatedly, and then the first hit, Snake just cuts their throat, which is like the one where you, I guess, just tap O once. And I was like, well, I guess never mind.
I guess they'll have the forever sleep.
Yeah.
It's like Snake, interrogate. Oh, you meant throat slit? Got it. Don't worry about it.
Murder.
Yeah, I feel
Snake want to kill.
Yeah. I feel that context sensitive, but we don't know what the context is, also goes for the story to a certain extent. Because this game, so for those who don't know about the three parts of Kojima's idea, let me look up the three things for Kojima. One sec. He's got 3 philosophies that his first 3 games were supposed to be about. I need to remember I know what the second one and the third one are. It's meme and scene, but I don't remember what the first one is.
Like meme as in like meme theory?
Yes.
Memetics?
Memetics.
Or like meme like the internet.
Gene, meme, and scene. Those were the 3 themes.
That was going to be my guess. Yeah.
So the first game where you find out you're a clone is about genes. The second game where you play as a fucking idiot running around doing all the same things that Snake does is about memes, but memetic information. And this game
also about memes.
This game is all about scene because it's a period piece. It's all about the context of the Cold War, you see, Pete.
I mean, yeah, I guess. If you learn everything you know about the Cold War from this game, though, you're going to be very confused.
Yeah, so, like, the game starts with Virtuous Mission. You are Snake. You've been dispatched by Major Tom.
Nickname, by the way. That's one he picked for himself.
Yes,
he
he picked
wanted
for
to be
himself.
called that.
And you've been told to rescue. Oh, what's his name?
Sokolov.
Yes, Sokolov, the great Russian doctor scientist man who's trying to build kind of a Metal Gear.
Kind of.
They haven't named it yet. They're just like it's a weapon thing. We
For
should think of a
context,
name
too,
for that.
He's going to pee himself later in the game. Just to let you know what we're dealing with here.
Scientists in these games canonically always pee themselves.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I do
FYI.
believe that happens to Otacon too when you meet him.
Yes.
It's an homage, actually.
Oh, okay. That makes it much more sophisticated. I didn't realize there were layers to the self-urination.
There
Pete,
you
you're
go.
not going to believe how many things in this game are references to earlier games.
and will be referenced in later games. It's just a nesting doll.
It's an
here.
Ouroboros of masturbatory writing. So yeah, you get dropped off. You have to save Sokolov. Snake has been dispatched. You've got Paramedic, who this game has a radio like the other games. The radio is how you talk to other characters to get intel, but also how you save. I would say the opening cutscenes take 2 hours?
Forever.
The opening sequence by itself takes about 2 to 3 hours. That's like the total first act. And this game only runs for like 9 to 12 hours, so it's pretty significant. All of the cutscenes altogether, I think, are 3 hours or so. So,
yeah, and it's worth saying, this game does not have the ability, at least I didn't find, a way to pause the cutscenes. I only found skip buttons.
I mean, that would mess with the cinematographic flow. You can't allow that.
Great point,
This is about the artistic vision.
When I start a game, sight unseen, I want to just have an hour and a half dedicated to this game before I can save.
My only thought is get me to the bikinis. If I have to wait more than like an hour for a bikini, I'm done. I only play Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
That's the only video game I've ever played.
That's the only one. I just play it over and over.
And as someone who's only played Dead or Alive beach volleyball, you were probably getting a lot of Dead or Alive beach volleyball vibes from this game.
Oh, it's definitely. I was like, what? Like, let me map out the jiggle physics in this particular stealth combat sim.
And, it's also great that, every time a lady shows up, you're like, oh, why is she not in a bikini? And then she's like, you're right.
Just wait a couple minutes.
I know what you're thinking. Unzips her fucking front of her thing.
Her jumpsuit.
Yes. They're all wearing jumpsuits because it's easy to open.
As far as I can recall, if you don't count Paramedic, because she's never on screen, there are only 2 female characters.
Yes.
And they both take their jumpsuits off at some point.
Oh.
Yes.
Your military mentor, commander trainer.
Yes, your
takes
girlfriend,
off her jumpsuit.
Your mother girlfriend.
Otherwise known as the boss. We'll talk about the boss.
Yeah, we'll talk about the scene where she takes off her jumpsuit.
Yeah.
It's touching. It's very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're ashamed of your words and deeds when she takes off her jumpsuit. But yeah, Eva, who is your contact to help rescue Sokolov, the second time. So the first time you try to save Sokolov, you get caught by You get caught by Volgin, right?
Yes.
And he beats the crap out of you and puts you in the hospital? Or does the boss beat... No, the boss knocks you off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how...
steal her headband.
The second time is Volgin beating the shit out of you, and then the boss beating the shit out of you, and that...
Yeah. But like, when you get... Oh, go ahead.
Do we know why Volgin has lightning powers?
No.
Oh.
Because it's a Metal Gear game.
I assume it has something to do with his hideous scars.
Let's see.
Like he was struck by lightning.
This out. We're gonna
let's assume it's either nanomachines, he was struck by lightning, or the occult.
His body carries an electric charge of 10 million volts, speculated by Soviet scientists to be the result of electrokinesis that he uses chiefly for fighting and torture. So there is no explanation.
I was going to say electrokinesis just means he can move electricity.
That's descriptive.
He has electricity powers because he can move electricity.
Yeah.
What are you failing to understand, Pete? He's got electricity powers because he has electricity powers.
Yeah, no, it makes as much sense as anything else in the game.
Yeah, so when you get captured in the beginning of the first, when you get knocked off the cliff, Snake goes to the hospital for a week, I guess, before he gets put back out. But when you get captured, Volgin gets a mini nuke that shoots out of a shoulder-launching cannon. And he just decides to nuke the facility that Sokolov was in before, just for lulz, basically, just to do it.
Just to show off.
Yeah, he killed them just to watch them die.
He has
and
two
he's-
of them, so he might as well use one immediately.
Exactly. And it sets off an international incident because Russia, which I cannot say enough, is like the president of Russia it's Khrushchev in this, right?
Yeah.
And they just say like Khrushchev has a call with Lyndon Johnson,
Who shows up at the end of the game, like a sprite that is very clearly Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
I'd say President Johnson.
I just want to say, whoever is impersonating Johnson, I can't tell if it's really good or really terrible.
I've never heard Lyndon Johnson speak outside of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Well, I've seen all the way. I've seen all the way on Broadway with Bryan Cranston, so I'd say it's about as good as that.
Okay.
He's
fine.
a good actor. Yeah.
But this international incident basically means that Snake, in his mission to rescue Sokolov, his second mission, which is the Snake Eater, the name of the mission, he gets sent to both save Sokolov and kill the boss because the nuke has been pinned on the boss. So you have to kill her to satiate the Russian need for blood.
Hold on. I want to just point out, this is a week after the first mission.
Yep.
Where Snake had his arm broken.
Yep.
He was like shot a bunch of times, thrown off of a bridge.
Yep.
And his ribs were broken. Thank you, Harley.
But he has his magic headband now.
Yes, that's true. He has his infinite ammo headband, so he's good to go. I don't think I would be up for another sneaking mission a week after this.
No, but you don't understand. Like the first scene he's in, he's like, I'm a little sore.
Also, he was hit by a nuclear bomb, basically.
Yeah, he was hit. He was in the blast radius a little bit.
He was in the fallout for it. That's why he is infertile in later editions of Metal Gear Solid.
Well, he does say earlier on that he was actually around the Bikini Atoll when they were doing nuke testing, so he was already irradiated.
True. Yeah, so he doesn't have to worry about it. My only question, if I were Snake, would be like, oh, you want me to fight lightning powers guy again? No, I have no lightning powers.
I can't do that. I am a man.
Well, you see,
I
Pete,
know judo.
He's got a gun that he's like filed down the knife so it fits in the gun right. So he's unstoppable.
Yeah, I still don't understand that part either.
I could shoot him a bunch. Maybe that would work.
So
what if I just unloaded on him?
Yeah. When the second mission starts, there's a couple of very important things that I need to call out. One, the best part of the game happens, which is when the Snake Eater theme happens. The theme and then the like 3-minute long intro video that like would play in front of a Bond movie or something with CG snakes just flying around on the screen. That's the peak. That's almost the peak of the game. It's very good.
The most fun that I had with this game was watching every time Hideo Kojima's name flew by, just in a different role. Like, I think there were only 11 unique names in that opening thing out of like 50 like roles. Most of them were Hideo Kojima. So, you know what? Good on him. He got his name on it somewhere.
Finally. Thank goodness.
Finally.
Yeah, so that's great. And then also Major Tom saying, call me Major Zero because I named myself Major Tom because of this movie, The Great Escape. Have you seen it? You really got to check it out.
I mean, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but okay, this is another complaint.
There will be a lot of them. So just
There will
toss
be.
them out.
There will be. Kojima definitely likes American films a lot. Because every time you call paramedic to save your game, you'll save your game and then she'll go on for like way too long. Just like, have you heard of Godzilla? I think they're going to be making another one. It's going to be really good. Maybe someday, you know?
This was after the other Godzilla, like the American Godzilla, though.
Yeah. This is like, but the game is set in the 60s.
True.
So they're
point.
like, wouldn't it be crazy if they made an American one someday? That'd be really weird. Wink, wink.
Okay, bye, Snake.
Okay, bye. This happens every time you save your game.
It's different movies every time.
Yes. Like The Creature from the Black Lagoon, just all old movies that were maybe out in the 60s. Unclear if they're all timely.
See, the wild thing to me is Major Tom going, actually, I named myself Major Tom because of The Great Escape, not because of the David Bowie song.
Oh, yeah. Did David
Space Oddity.
Bowie... Did that come out by this point?
I think Space Oddity had to be. At the very least, Hideo Kojima is writing this game in a world where Space Oddity has been out for a very long time.
Yeah, no one hears Major Tom, and they're like, oh, The Great Escape.
Exactly.
David Bowie Space Oddity. Let's find out when this was made.
Good song.
It was made in 1967.
Yeah,
No,
so a year before.
After 1967. 1969.
Okay. And this game was...
This game is just set in the 60s, the ambiguous 60s.
Okay, so it's possible that this exists. You know, I feel better about it. Just Hideo Kojima going, damn it, our timeline doesn't allow for Major Tom to be a reference to Space Oddity, but it's so good. Well, we just obviously need to have it be based on The Great Escape. Clearly.
I mean, if there's one thing this game concerns itself with, it's historical accuracy.
True. Very true. Little known fact, David Bowie actually named Major Tom after the guy in Operation Snake Eater.
Oh, of course. American hero, Major Tom.
The British man.
Exactly. Yeah, so this game, like your second mission, Operation Snake Eater, you are told to meet up with Adam and Eve. These are the two spies that you have to meet up with. They're double agents. They're going to help you out. You're supposed to meet up with Adam. When you go to meet up with Adam, there's a lady there, and she's like, Adam's gone. I'm Eva. And Eva is a lady in a jumpsuit.
Riding a motorcycle.
Oh,
can I talk about my favorite part of the entire game?
Oh, yeah, go for it. Please do.
It's when Eva gets in a hand-to-hand combat fight with a Russian soldier. He's using his bare hands. She fights him with a motorcycle and does a backflip off his face.
Yep. Was that Ocelot she was fighting?
Yeah, she hits Ocelot in the face with a motorcycle.
Genius. Yep. No notes.
Flawless.
It is worth saying, like, for the PlayStation 2, when this game came out, everything we're discussing is maybe some of the most impressive visual and cinematic work, just from purely, like, where the camera is, how it's cut. Hideo Kojima has watched a lot of action movies and is capable of replicating those scenes with a level of verisimilitude that most other PlayStation 2 games could not. Like, this is legitimately, I think it's hammy as hell, but his ability to execute on those hammy as hell premises is second to none at this point when games are being made.
You know what it reminded me of? I was constantly thinking of, and like this is an American reference, of Michael Bay. Like, he understands how action scenes are put together, like how to make them look interesting, but they're just so ridiculously hammy that you're sort of like, you can't appreciate the technical mastery of it.
Exactly. And that's the thing for me is, like, I had the Metal Gear series pitched to me as this is a serious game with serious things to say about war and trauma and soldiers and how they're treated and the Cold War. And then everything about the game happens, and I'm like, no, it's not. This is True Lies. It's just True Lies, which is a fine movie. But, like, no one's trying to give True Lies Oscars. But this game, because it came out at a time where games were generally not at this level of graphical fidelity, this level of cinematic execution, it got a lot of free rides on storytelling quality, in my opinion. Because it's not saying anything all that profound. It just says it with a lot of panache.
And like whenever it does say anything, it thinks it's profound. It just says it. It's like, here's what war is. Here's what soldiers do. The Cold War was bad. Let's move on.
Yep.
Yeah, none of the characters in this game sound like they're talking to other human beings, despite the fact that almost all of the dialogue is dialogue between two humans looking at each other. It's just two people monologuing past each other for the most part. So Eva you meet Ocelot, Revolver Ocelot, who Pete, he's from the other games.
I do know that.
Yeah, so you meet
And he's
Revolver
a
Ocelot.
clown. He sucks so much whenever he's
He
on
does.
screen.
He does.
He's just a fucking doofus.
But
He
you
also-
see him.
He makes ocelot noises. That's not
He
a
does
cool
that in
thing
the
to
other
do.
games.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a cool guy thing.
No.
He does that in the other games.
He's really like just trying stuff out, it seems, and then that's going to be his thing for the next 30 years.
Yeah, basically everything that happens to him in this game explains why he's just this amalgamation of affects for the rest of his life.
Yep.
Like he does the hand thing. Like every time he talks, he does the 2 finger guns at you. Like every time he talks. The first time he shows up, he's got a pistol, and then Snake's like, the way you use those guns, you should really use a revolver. And then the next time he shows up,
I will.
Yeah.
I'll get 3 of them.
then he shows up with the revolver, and he puts the revolver backwards into the holster. He's like, aha, you don't even know how to use a revolver. And this revolver's engraved. Engravings don't help you kill people.
Yeah, that's another great Snake line.
I really like how much Snake likes guns. This is right around the same time.
Yeah, you get your silenced pistol.
Yeah, Ava gets a gun to you, which you are not supposed to have, I guess, or you're given it.
It's American, and he's like, let's get an American gun.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look at this. It's so well weighted. And he goes on for 5 minutes just like, I'm so horny over this gun. And also you, naked lady in front of me. And it's just like, also war is bad.
I don't know what's sexier, the well-oiled chamber of this gun or your well-oiled chamber, sexy lady. Yeah, this game is it really is like 5 minutes where he describes the grip, the trigger, the
Everything's
bullets.
so right.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna lick it.
This is one of the problems with a lot of like war movies and like war games, is that there's so much time spent being like, war's terrible, it's the worst thing, it's horrible, which it is, right? But then there's an equal amount of energy saying, and look how cool it's made me.
Yeah, and speaking of
Aesthetics are so sick.
Speaking of that, we then shortly thereafter get introduced to the Cobra unit. This game's group of superpowered freaks who are going to try and fight you. Every Metal Gear Solid game has this. There's always a gang of superpowered goons who are going to be the bosses. In this game, they're the bosses, and I mean the boss, like the lady. It's hard to talk about this game because everyone has the same name.
You'd also call her the Joy, because that's her code name.
Right, the Joy. So her squad is a bunch of people with superpowers who you're going to have to fight. They go in the order: the Pain, who's a man who's full of wasps.
Yeah, they're inside him. He controls them. He's got a tough life.
And he says the pain all the time, but I don't know, he seems to be living a full life, despite being full of bees.
A life full of bees.
Then the Fear, who's
Fear,
a snake man.
Yeah.
He's got a long tongue. You can go invisible. He bends all weird, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable.
And
Yep,
you steal his clothes.
Can you?
You do? What?
Wait, am I mixing up whose clothes you steal? You steal
I don't know.
Fear's.
Do you get his clothes after you kill him, or can you do it
after
during
you
the
kill
fight
him.
or something? Oh, yeah. You do after you kill him.
Not during the fight.
Okay, go, look, these games, sometimes I'd buy that.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's not too far off.
You steal someone's clothes later in the game. You fight the End, who's a sniper who's really old. And he's sleeping except for his boss fight because he's saving...
The boss says he's so old that he's dead most of the time, except for when he is like called upon to do his job, which is to snipe you.
And he's also photosynthetic.
Yes. Yeah,
'Cause
he's
why
got like a
not?
mold on his head.
Yeah, that makes it so that he can just stay camped out without eating or drinking or peeing for days
Yep.
to snipe people.
Mm-hmm.
who's after him? The rage, the anger,
the fury.
The fury.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a cosmonaut. I think he's an astronaut.
He went to space.
He's a spaceman who shoots fire with a flamethrower, and he's got a jetpack.
Yep.
And then there's the secret member of the squad, the Sorrow, who's a ghost man.
Do we want to pick our favorites?
Yeah, who's everyone's favorite? Em, you go first.
Oh boy. The end is probably the silliest of the bunch to fight because you could either fight him or you could not fight him. When he first shows up, you can he's just an old man in a wheelchair. You could just shoot him.
He's asleep.
He's asleep. Any old man in a wheelchair.
True.
Really. It doesn't have to be the end.
That's true. You shouldn't be sleeping. You never know when you're gonna get popped. And then when you actually fight him, how does the fight go?
Well, it can go a couple of different ways. The most intuitive way is that you use your audio microphone to pick up kind of where he is because you can find him breathing. Go in that direction. There'll be glints from his sight that you can see that reveal where he is as well. And if he's got a bead on you, sometimes the camera will cut to behind his scope, which will also kind of let you know where he is. And you're just basically in a long, drawn-out sniper duel with him. It's over 3 different environments. If you spook him off of one, you have to find him in another. He also has a parrot that you can capture or kill, and that will screw up his ability to find you because it's his spotter. I caught his parrot. I put it to sleep and then carried it around in my pocket for the rest of the game. And alternatively,
can you do anything else?
Or
what did you do, Pete?
No, I was asking, does the parrot have any utility?
So you can kill the parrot, which will enrage him and cause him to be a little bit more reckless,
Gotcha.
And he'll be mad at you.
But there's no late game function.
Not that I know of.
Can't deploy
there's
this
no
parrot
reason
later.
to keep it.
Gotcha.
You can eat the parrot
That's good.
Does it taste good?
want. I didn't try to eat the parrot.
Oh.
I was a pacifist in this game. I didn't kill anyone or anything.
How did that go for you?
Went great because I turned the game to very easy, which gives you the easy gun,
Yeah.
which is a tranq gun with infinite ammo that sets your camo to 80% at all times.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Gino, to answer your previous question,
Yes.
the end is very old.
Yes.
In fact, he is so old that if you just leave your, I guess for me it was a PS2, if you leave your PS2 running for long enough, he just dies of old age. That's the end.
The end of the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the sort of verisimilitude this game provides.
Yes. M, so that was your favorite. Pete's, who's your favorite of these goons?
Yeah, mine was actually also the end. I
Ah,
think he's the most interesting one. I mean, sure, the pain can control bees, but who
the other
can't?
guys are just guys, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the Fury's not a guy; he's fire in a suit, allegedly.
And I guess the Sorrow is a ghost, but he was
like
a
the
guy at
Sorrow.
one point. You like the Sorrow?
So I like the Sorrow because that fight is basically Snake is unconscious for that fight, and you get haunted by the ghosts of all the things you've killed over the course of the game. So the more people there are, this river with the Sorrow is full of ghosts who attack you. If you don't, so I didn't kill anyone. So it was a very empty river, except for the 4 bosses, who, whether you put them to sleep or kill them, their bomb goes off, because they all have bombs in them, because they're too dangerous to leave corpses. So they're always there. The ghosts of those people are always there. But for me, it was a very empty river. Was your river full of vengeful spirits? Sounds like
There
you were
were a
slitting a
few.
lot of throats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I had some I had to deal with. But they shouldn't
Just
have gotten in
'cause-
my way.
A lot of throats getting slit. There's always going to be a few, I think, unless you go on very easy, and then you just get 4 guys, and it's kind of a short thing.
I didn't like that the game implied I killed a lot of fish, because I did not. They still fill the river with ghost fish.
Mm-hmm. Does it count all of the little creatures you kill?
It does. It counts the animals.
Oh.
So you would see a lot of snakes and stuff if you killed a lot of snakes.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's an interesting fight of like, ooh, war is hell. Look at the trauma. It also has a cool ending because the game, like, it cuts you to a game over screen when you get to the end of the river because you stumble across the Sorrow's body and he kills you. But you can actually open up your menu and there's a revival pill you have in your tooth that you can use to wake Snake up. And that's the actual way to win the fight. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the other boss fights are just they're interesting boss fights, but they didn't really resonate with me quite as much. Although it is very funny that a man is just full of bees.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses bees to throw grenades, to drop grenades. He's got bee armor. Like, it's ridiculous, but funny.
Silly. Mm-hmm.
It's nothing is as good as the fat man in Metal Gear Solid 2. He's a heavy-set man with roller skates who's drinking like a Mai Tai or something. He's a demolitions expert. Like, every single MGS game has this cavalcade of lunatics, and they're always the most fun boss fights or like most fun combat encounters of these games, though, that's not necessarily saying a ton.
Mm-hmm. I never found the boss fights in these games super compelling, just because a lot of them are like, all right, you've been doing a sneaking mission, and now it's time to shoot one man 50 times. Maybe I just did not,
No, you
know
got
how
it.
to... No, that's
You get
it.
it. Yeah. You get it.
Everyone's like, oh, the boss fights in these games are so good. And I'm like, are they? Are they actually?
So there's a lot of attention to detail, right? Like, the fear he heals himself by eating, and if you let him, he will heal himself a bunch. But if you throw rotten food out, he will try to eat that, and he'll poison himself. Like, you can do fun stuff like that will, or he'll get hungry if he doesn't eat, and if you deprive him of food, then he'll get starved and take more damage. There's stuff like that. The bee guy, like, you duck under the water and he sends his bees out to find you, and that's how he makes himself vulnerable. You can shoot his bees out of the air to drop his grenade kind of at his feet. There's cool stuff going on here that's attention to detail for a PlayStation 2 game is quite high. But I think at the end of the day, like you said, Em, you shoot him a bunch. The trick is to shoot him a bunch a lot of the times.
And also the AI is kind of janky at times. They will just forget you're there sometimes.
Yeah, because it's a sneaking mission.
Yeah, you'll just go underwater for a little bit too long, and they're like, oh, I guess I win. And then you shoot him, and he's like, wow, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, it's extra goofy. Like, this game just wildly undulates between hyper serious, hyper realistic is what it's going for, at least, and slapstick. And there's very little, speaking of, very little time in between, and I don't think it earns either tone fully. It's way more slapstick than it is serious, though sometimes it's treated as though the serious parts are to be taken seriously, and that bugs me.
This doesn't happen until the end of the game, but I'm going to talk about it. I can't think of a more uncomfortable sex scene I've ever seen in a video game.
What a segue.
One of the more disturbing scenes in an entire game about war and torture.
Tell me more.
I don't want to get too deep in there, but it's a very interesting dynamic between them, right? Because they're both sort of these proposed alphas. So there's
Eva and Snake.
Yeah, Eva and Snake. I'm sorry, I didn't even say who was involved in the scene. There's a very strange part where they're almost grappling, like they hold hands, and Eva forces Snake to the ground, and Snake's like, nah, and then he gets on top and forces her down, all the while holding hands. It's very strange, and it's very awkward because it's Snake.
Because he's just a sexless being.
Because he's just weird. I mean, if he were talking to his gun, it would make more sense. But this is a live human woman.
Yeah, it's a live human woman who's been naked in front, like varying levels of undress in front of him, basically the whole game.
Yeah, to be fair, it is a live woman who is written by Hideo Kojima, so grain of salt here. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, and I think that's also worth segueing into. We are in Russia in the 60s. And the walls of many of the Russian compounds where you find soldiers and such are lined with Japanese bikini model posters that are just so anachronistic. They only make sense in that Hideo Kojima was like, "Well, we're making a game for horny boys, so we need to put boobs in it, right?" And like, there's only 2 lady characters in the whole game, so. We need posters everywhere so people know that there's sexy ladies.
I mean, the logic is flawless. Like, there's no gaps.
Like, the magazines you get are, again, Japanese pinup posters that you can put on the ground. Did you know that those have a function, by the way?
They distract
like in the
soldiers.
world or the game?
In the game, they have a game function.
In
the world, we know what the function is, but in the game. Similarly, it will distract the all-male guard corps.
Yeah.
They will look at the magazine and go, hoo, 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 and then you can shoot them.
And, like, no thought to, like, why is there porn in the middle of the jungle?
No, instead, they just
Thank
go,
you.
a humana, humana, humana.
Thank you, God, for this bounty you've bestowed upon me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so, like, that's super anachronistic. There's always these posters everywhere. There's also Game Informers and gamer magazines that are on a bunch of tables as well, with just like cover issues of Metal Gear Solid stuff, which is also kind of funny. RIP to many of those magazines. But yeah, go ahead.
The game is set in the 60s. I don't think they know what video games are yet.
Also fair. But we eventually find like another Russian scientist who feels threatened by Sokolov, and he's working on a Metal Gear. So Sokolov is working on what the heck is it called?
The Shagohod.
Yes,
the Shagohod, which is not a Metal Gear because it is not bipedal. It's got tank treads they're like drill corkscrews. They're corkscrews instead of tank treads, and it's got kind of arms. Whereas the Metal Gears are bipedal. And this Russian scientist is saying, look, my thing is a bipedal thing, a Metal Gear. It's way cooler than this idiot with his tank treads. My mobile weapons platform will be way, way better. And I'm going to send all my research to this guy I know in the United States. Otacon is his name. And he's going to carry on my research, setting up.
I assume he comes back around.
That's Metal Gear Solid 1. That's the guy who makes the Metal Gear and MGS1. Or like the dad of the guy who makes it in MGS1. So that's a setup. And then you have to basically go and stop the Shagohod. You need to destroy the Shagohod, get Sokolov back. Eva gets naked a bunch of times. Snake has a bunch of monologues where he's gruff. You kill all of the members of the Cobra unit because you're a snake eater. Another moment I feel we need to call out is the ladder scene.
The ladder. I thought the ladder happened much earlier in the game than it did. But no, it's actually fairly late.
So did you enjoy the ladder scene?
Should we explain what the ladder scene is for someone who has not been on the internet?
Go ahead.
The ladder, you get to a ladder, and you start climbing up thinking it might be a short ladder, and then it keeps going, and it keeps going. And then the Snake Eater theme song starts playing. And you're like, how long is this ladder? And you climb up this ladder for like 3 to 5 minutes as the song plays. It's kind of a scene that's been memed on a lot because the theme song's good, at least.
It is. And it's it's a acapella version of the theme song.
Yeah. Got a vibe to it.
When it starts, you're like, what is that? What's going on? At least I looked around like, am I going to get attacked? This seems like a thing this game would do. But no, it's just the full theme song that plays, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. It's because it starts like just with a woman's voice. And she goes, "What a thrill."
Yes.
And you're like, what the fuck? Hello? I'm climbing a ladder. I can't talk to you right now. Half the time people get to the top of the ladder and then they're so surprised to have come to the end of it, they fall off and die. So that's the ladder story.
Yeah. After, these boss fights and all this sort of stuff, you eventually get to the base where Sokolov's being held. Oh, I guess before that happens. No, is it after when Eva gets naked in the cave?
She's always getting naked.
Yeah, I mean, she also got naked in like the hut when they first met.
She got naked the first time, the second time, the third time.
But she gets all the way, like, she gets into her bikini that she's wearing underneath her jumpsuit.
Yeah. No, I think that's after Groznygrad.
I think, yeah, you get to Groznygrad first time, then you get beaten up, tortured, and you escape, and then you get the cave scene.
Yeah.
But when you get to Groznygrad the first time, you have to infiltrate it by finding Commander Raidenov, I believe, which is the character model of Raiden from MGS2. Is
this Raiden or is this someone else? What do we think of this?
It's Raiden's character model.
Yeah.
But it's not him.
I mean, it's the same hair.
It is the same hair. It's the same face. It does kind of look like him. I'm not sure.
First, the game gives you a mask earlier in the game, and it's Raiden's face, and I thought that was hilarious because in Metal Gear Solid 2, you start as Snake, and then you take over as Raiden for a while, and I think you get a Snake mask in that game.
You do.
So I was like, callback. But then when you have to beat up the Raiden lookalike, strip him of his clothes, and then he's wearing a Speedo underneath with a lightning bolt on his dick.
Swearing a thong.
Yeah, it's great. It's just the best.
I mean, he needed something in there, for the lady fans.
I don't think it was for the lady fans. I'm just going to put that one out there.
Yeah, it's really to set up a moment where Snake sneaks into Volgan's inner circle and then gets groped because you know what shows power in this game? Sexual exploitation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Volgan's whole HR model.
Yep.
Yeah, so he gropes your dick. Like, he does electrocute Eva when she's in an outfit, and her pantyhose rips from the electricity, like electricity does.
I was watching that scene again. I turned to my roommate, and I was like, do you think Kojima just has a thing for, like, ripped pantyhose? Because Quiet also has that in Metal Gear Solid 5. This might just be a thing for him.
I mean, if you like women who have been exploited, let me introduce you to the Beasts and Beauties Squadron. The Beauty and the Beast Squadron from MGS5. Where it's
4? Oh.
In 4, it is the superpowered bosses that you have to fight are all beautiful babes who have been destroyed by war. And so you have to beat them up. But then if you beat them up the right way, you get to have a photo shoot with them where you take pictures of them in bikinis.
My kind of game.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's a real thing that's in Metal Gear Solid 4. Look forward to that.
So he knows what he's doing,
to
the industry, right?
He knows his audience is teenage boys, right?
Yeah. I
mean, it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or he just makes really horny games because he likes making horny games. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I mean, everybody's entitled to their art, I guess.
Yeah, and this game, at least, Volgan sexually exploits both ways. He's bisexual icon, Volgan. One of multiple bisexual icons in the MGS series. There's also Vamp. He's a vampire.
I mean, good name. He knows what he's about.
He also vamps.
What's his other title? Sam something?
I don't know.
He has such a stupid last name.
They all have stupid names. So, yeah, you try to save Sokolov, doesn't work out because the Shagohod's been created. You get beaten up at some point. You try to use C3 because it's not C4 yet to blow up this base.
Is that historically accurate?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Also, Vamp is also known as Jetstream Sam.
Damn it.
He can't keep getting away with this.
He can't. Yeah, so the Shagohod, like, that stuff happens. You have to take down the Shagohod. Like, when we got to the Shagohod, I thought that was going to be the end of the game. I thought we were very close to the end of the game. And there's so much more. There's, like, so many action scenes after that. Like, you have to escape the Shagohod, then you have to fight it for a while on motorcycle back. You have to beat up on Volgin, who I did appreciate that he shoots bullets by shooting electricity into them. He just puts bullets in his hands and shoots them at you, which is kind of funny.
He, like, puts it between his fingers and then, like, punches to, like, do a lightning punch, I guess. That's his, like, thing. He likes to punch walls with that.
And he deflects bullets with his lightning powers, but you can CQC him because he doesn't electrocute you when you grab him.
Why not?
Yeah. Oh, also, like, there's Ghost Man shows up during the cutscene because you set the C4 and you set it to explode and it's on a timer and you have to beat Volgin before the timer goes off. So, like, during the cutscene before that fight, the Sorrow will float around holding a clock showing you how much time is left on the timer, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that was actually a good bit.
Yeah. Speaking of the Sorrow, earlier when you were, like, being held in, like, a cage, basically, like, they've caught you, there's a way to get out of there without knowing just, like, a codec channel that you can turn to. But I found that you could just, like, if you press R1 during certain cutscenes, you can, like, change your camera view.
Most of the time it's still ogle boobs or butts, but sometimes.
But sometimes, such as right before when you're being tortured, you can use R1 and look, like, behind the boss, and the Sorrow is just there holding a channel number, and then you turn to that channel and that will unlock the door for you. Otherwise, you have to do, like, some funky stuff, like eat a bad thing, spin around, get sick, and then pretend you're dead in order to get someone to open the door. But you could just, like, oh, it's unlocked now, just by calling that thing. So why the Sorrow is helping you, who knows?
Yeah, it's well, so once you defeat, there's some stuff. Yeah, there's an explanation, kinda. So once you defeat Volgin, you blow up the Shagohod. You then have to escape because infinite soldiers keep attacking you. No matter how many Volgin kills, no matter how many get blown up, more and more soldiers with hover bikes and regular bikes keep coming after you. Eva gets wounded. You have to have a, like, escort mission with Eva, like, bleeding from her chest, from her tummy. You escape until you eventually have to you meet the boss in a field full of white lilies, I think.
Yeah.
And she has a white jumpsuit, so, she blends in.
She's good at camouflage.
The iconic scene.
Yep, and a white horse. And so she explains to you everything. She's like, Snake, you've gotten to the end of the game. Let me explain what's going on here. I fought in World War II with my squad, the Cobra Squad. We did a good job of killing. I didn't think I could have kids, but I had kids on the battlefield by teaching them CQC and other cool stuff. But then she gets pregnant with the Sorrow's baby, which she then goes on to have. What day? Pete, what day did she give birth?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
Do you remember?
I was stuck on Ghost Baby.
Isn't it D-Day?
D-Day.
I should have guessed that.
On D-Day, she is 8 months pregnant, storming the beaches,
Sure.
and she has, I guess, a C-section, but it's the 40s, so they, like, opened her up from, like, all the way down to all the way
cut
top.
her in
From
half.
the shoulder to her, like, across her chest. It's a really
And, like,
weird
curvy
way.
lines, too. Not like a straight line.
No.
Someone
And
was not doing doctoring very long when they did this.
Yeah, that's when she says she opens up her jumpsuit to show you her big scar and her cleavage. And it's important to say, like, she says all this war stuff. Like, we forgot the Shadow Society. They're not the Patriots in this one. They're the
Philosophers.
Philosophers. So the Philosophers are a group of Russian, Chinese, and American bigwigs who are a secret society who's been secretly controlling the events of the world. Volgin is the inheritor of the Philosopher's Legacy, which is a little microfiche or something that if you have it, you can find all the money that the philosophers have, and you'll have infinite resources to do war and stuff. So Volgan's plan is to make Shagohod so that he can have a constant war because he's a maniac. The boss steals the microfiche, and she is the daughter of a member of the philosophers, and she wants you to know about the secret society. And then you have to fight and kill her. Oh, also, she kills the Sorrow for diplomatic reasons because they were on opposite sides once the Cold War started. They were comrades in World War II, and they were enemies in the Cold War. And so she kills the father of her child. And Pete, do you know who that child grew up to be?
Seems pretty well implied that it's Snake.
No.
But I don't think the timelines work out.
It's not Snake.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
Is it Ocelot?
Yes. It's the other named character who lives.
I was going to say there's only two people. It's actually Ocelot?
Yes.
That sucks.
Isn't it Ocelot and Ava are twins?
No, it's just Ocelot.
Did I read into that? Okay.
No, they are Adam and Eve, though. Ocelot is Adam, and Eva is not actually supposed to be Eve. She's actually a spy sent by the Patriot.
Chinese.
Yeah, by the Chinese members of the philosophers to steal the microfiche. So,
fiche.
Yes. So you fight the boss. You have to kill the boss because the U.S. government wills it to be so. Then you leave with Ava. Oh, wait, no. Then you have to have the stupid scene with friggin' Revolver Ocelot where he shows up, damages your plane. You have a standoff after he gun juggles for a while and then goes, ha, 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 the gun was a blank, and then jumps out of the plane.
He literally
Is Revolver his first name or just a nickname?
It's his nickname in Metal Gear Solid because he's at that point he's got revolvers. Gotcha.
But like his first name isn't actually Revolver because it would
like
shock
Adam
me if it was.
It's like Adamitsky or something.
Okay.
It's Adam plus Russian stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, in chat, reminder: Ocelot was meant to meet Snake at the start of the game, but Ava got there first, and that's why Ocelot meets Snake at the same exact location, and they have a fight.
But aren't they working together, Ocelot and Ava?
No, they are both double agents, but they're double agents for different sides. Ocelot's a double agent for the Americans. Ava's a double agent for the Chinese, because everything's like 12 layers of bullshit with Kojima games. Nothing is ever just a sentence you can say. Like, he always explains it, and he always explains it in a half hour.
No wonder I didn't get this. Okay.
In future
There's a lot
games,
of sepia tone too, whenever the explanations come up.
For sure. Like, in MGS2, Vamp is just a fucking vampire man. Then in MGS4, there's a fucking 20-minute cutscene about how he's full of nanomachines, and that's why he's got vampire powers. It's actually nanomachines. Like, he can never just let something be cool.
Because people wanted to know, why was this? And he was
why
like,
is Revolver
shit,
Ocelot?
I don't know.
Why does he meow and have a revolver? Well, we have to have an entire game where one of the major plot points is explaining every single thing about his affectations.
Why does he meow?
Because he's an ocelot.
Yeah, it's his code thing.
That's like the whole explanation?
Yeah, that's it. He's in the Ocelot squad.
It's like his signal for alerting his squad. But
I would quit the squad. If my squad leader meowed every time he wanted to talk to me, I would quit.
But you see, he didn't just pick the Ocelot randomly. He's in the Ocelot squadron, you see. So there was a reason.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so funny when he jumps out of the plane. I'm rewatching the end cutscene. He just like jumps out of the plane, hits the water at like
it's like a billion miles
a horizontal angle, just like tumbles. It's so stupid.
I just wish that afterwards you saw him like come up out of the water and do like the "you're pretty good, Snake" with the guns, and then sink, and then just sink, and then you just hear "you're pretty good."
I think we all got a lot out of this game.
It's so stupid and fun. Like, it's worth saying. It's so everything we've said about the sexism, the just asinine storytelling, just the childish understanding of Cold War, geopolitics, like all that shit, obviously terrible, but it's goofy and fun through a lot of it in a way that's endearing, and that's why this game has such a following. Like,
it's definitely dated, but what is it at this point?
It was
If
probably
you can-
dated in 2005. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
this game had a heyday.
If you
I
can,
mean, if
get
you look at
the-
the reviews,
yeah,
it did. Like, it reviewed very well. It's one of the highest reviewed games for the PlayStation 2. Now, reviewers in the 2004-2005 time are very different from now. But, it's definitely this very iconic game with a lot of iconic moments, and its tone is wholly its own. Only Kojima makes these style of games. Now, if you wanted to watch anime, just like actual anime, this stuff is rampant. But in games, this specific style of weird storytelling with its 12 different plot twists and everyone's related to everyone because he can only write 3 characters, you have to go to either Star Wars or anime to get this level of convolution about just basic stuff that you could have left alone. What I'm saying is Hideo Kojima is our George Lucas.
Mm.
damn.
Midichlorians, nanomachines, are they
Prove us
different?
wrong.
I see
think
what you're
not.
saying.
Clones
Yeah.
of clones of clones, everyone's kids of everyone.
I'll allow that. As a Star
Um,
Wars fan, quotes.
General Grievous, how different is he than some of the members of the Beauty and the Beast squadron who have 4 arms?
Mhm.
Think not that different. So yeah, and then the final cutscene, you get Snake has sex with Eva in the most
gross.
romantic of ways.
So gross.
Yeah.
They have wine, and then the red wine spills on the bearskin rug.
Not the bearskin rug.
Bearskin rug.
How you gonna get wine out of bear skin?
And she steals the microfiche, but also tells Snake that actually the boss knew, like, she was actually going to double cross Volgin, but because he shot the nuke, everything went sideways, and she knew she had to die to save America. And so she was the greatest patriot of all. She didn't actually defect. She was truly a patriot. And this inspires Big Boss, as he is now known, as President Lyndon B. Johnson dubs him, gives him the title of Big Boss. Much like the Queen can knight British folk, the President can bestow titles such as Big Boss upon people. And then kind of the game ends, and you find out that Ocelot was a triple agent because everyone's a triple agent in these games.
I don't understand what the title of boss means. Is it a military, like...
I mean, it's not an official title. It's not like it's like
No.
Major Colonel Boss.
I mean, not that you know of. You're
Sure.
not, you civvy.
But it's implied when Snake gets like an award and is now the big boss. What does that mean?
I think he just leads covert ops now.
Does it?
So
Yes.
Big Boss is the villain of Metal Gear Solid. Is it 1? I think he's dead by 1. He's the villain of MGS, like the Metal Gear. Sorry, the Metal Gear games. He is the boss. He is
Metal
the
Gear
final boss.
Solid or Metal Gear?
Metal Gear.
Okay.
You are Solid Snake in those games, and you are fighting Big Boss
Right.
in Outer Heaven. So, Pete, what do you think this game,
Oh, God.
based on this
I'm
game, what do you
exhausted.
think Big Boss's path is? What do you think he's inspired to do by the events of this game?
He's probably some sort of. I don't even think triple would be enough. Some sort of quadruple agent.
Okay. What do you think his experience with his mentor being betrayed by the U.S. government causes him to do?
He's probably pretty anti-government, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
What do you
barely
think?
shakes Lyndon Johnson's hand.
And he
Doesn't.
doesn't shake other
Yeah,
guy.
he just refuses.
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's alive
Rude.
until MGS4, but it's very stupid how he's alive. Right. But so, Pete, he's inspired. As you said, he's very anti-government, but he's a soldier and it's all he knows.
True.
So he creates a country called Outer Heaven where soldiers can go to be mercenaries so they can fight forever
Oh
for
God.
any reason and no reason at all. He creates
we-
a sanctuary for soldiers.
Can we
Yeah.
never play another Metal Gear game? Like, ever.
Unfortunate. I'm picking Metal
Be the last
Gear.
one.
If you want to play, so every excess that's in 3 is far worse in 4. Every single one.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
And-
a sequel, you know?
And let me tell you, as someone who played Metal Gear Solid 4 when it came out, and who had not played any of these other games other than 4, but who respected game reviewers at that time to a degree that I should not have. One of the first game reviews I ever wrote was for Metal Gear Solid 4, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. And I regret that to this day.
Knowing what you know now, what would you have given it?
A fucking 2. Like it's technically competent, but the storytelling is even worse. Like Metal Gear Solid 3, I think has more endearing moments than 4 does. It's also less gross. For as gross as 3 is, in a game where there are 2 female characters that do hardly anything, and both of them get naked for no reason, or for, I should say, dubious reasons, 4 is worse at all of that stuff. So yeah, like that. This is kind of one of the best Metal Gear games, I think. So what do we think of the series? Like, what is our takeaway here? Obviously we don't want to play another one, but any other takeaways? Like, do you think it at least represents the Cold War well? Like the milieu, the sound effects.
No, not at all. Of course not.
Okay. Because, like, I've seen comments that are like, Metal Gear Solid 3 really captures the tension and you can't trust anyone in the Cold War, but also there's a man with bees. As though the man with bees is the part that's anachronistic and not the Cold War part. I think it's much truer to the man shooting bees out of his mouth than it is to the Cold War.
It reminded me of Forrest Gump's approach to history, where it's like, let's just toss in these figures. Like, Khrushchev, like, what if Solid Snake met him?
Yeah, what if Khrushchev's lead scientist was making a walking robot that shot nukes, the ultimate tank?
Like in the real Cold War.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, man, when they explain how the Shagohod is going to shoot nukes into the U.S., it's going to go real fast, driving on a long track, and then it's going to turn on rocket boosters.
It drives so fast, it acts as the first stage of the rocket, and that lets it go from 2,400 miles to 6,000 miles. Also, the whole time I was playing this game, every time I tried to talk, I would talk in the Snake voice. It was very bad.
I think, final question.
Yes.
David Hayter, the voice actor of Solid Snake and Big Boss, and Big Boss. Do we think he's good? Like, is that a good voice acting job?
I'm curious about the notes he got. If he was doing a good job and the director's like, no, do it worse.
Put some more grit into it.
Yeah, here, gargle this sand, and then we'll do it as a take.
Can you make it sound like you're seeing these words for the first time?
You've never talked to another person before. You were made in a lab to do sneaking missions.
Every other sentence is a question mark.
Yeah, no, I think no. I don't think he's doing a good job.
Okay.
I think it's iconic, and Kiefer Sutherland in Metal Gear Solid 5 never quite gets there because he actually knows what he's supposed to be doing.
And that's a mistake.
Yeah, that's not what Snake's about.
Did you read the script, Kiefer? None of this makes any sense.
And so with that, I think we will put Metal Gear Solid 3 to rest. Snake Eater. Thank you to M for picking this. Fuck off.
Thanks. Sorry. This game gave me a headache. Talking about this game for this episode made my head hurt.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about
no more
the conspiracy. I'm not gonna, but
God.
The conspiracies that spin off of these conspiracies, because everything's conspiracies. We're not gonna. So it is now my turn to pick once again.
Let's run it back.
Mercifully.
One more time.
And I picked Metal Gear Solid 4, you fuckers. No. I pick... Evo just happened, like we said at the beginning of the show, and so I wanted to pick a fighting game. And I wanted to pick a fighting game that we could all play so that we could, we could compete. We could fight. And I feel like the game that really captures the moment we live in right now the most, one that really captures the vibe of the current 2022 moment is WB's Multiverses.
Sure. I mean, it's IP all the way down.
It's IP all the way down. It's got a balls deep tie-in with LeBron James as a playable character. It's got Arya Stark, and you can murder Shaggy or Jake the dog.
Tasmanian Devil,
Iron Giant, Velma.
Giant, Superman.
Bugs Bunny. So yeah, we're gonna try Multiverses. A fighting game.
Yay!
So thank you, Pete.
Yeah, no, I think I deserve gratitude from my co-hosts and listeners for this one.
Thank you, Em.
Thank you, and I'm sorry. The year of torture continues to provide.
And thank you, listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Till next time, peace.